Welcome to how to use Disney World transportation between parks after hours. In this video and post, I will go through everything that you need to know, but the basis of this is probably thinking that, say you started your day at Animal Kingdom because it opened up really early, and then you took a bus to Magic Kingdom because Magic Kingdom's open till midnight or something. And so now you're like, well, how do I get back to my car in the Animal Kingdom parking lot if Animal Kingdom closed 4 hours ago? So, this is everything you're going to need to know about like navigating situations like that or any other reasons that you may be needing to get from one theme park to another after the park has already closed. For starters, when in doubt, you can always find a transportation cast member and ask them how to get to where you're trying to go. If you can't find a transportation cast member, I would check for a security cast member. And if you don't see a transportation or security cast member, feel free to ask any cast member and they can direct you to a person or give you the actual answer that you're looking for. Regardless, someone will be able to point you in the right direction of what to do. Disney will always do everything they can to help you get to where you need to go. And if for whatever reason all transportation has already ended for the night, you can always use Uber or Lyft as an option to get you to where you need to go. And I do have a discount code. If you've never used a Lyft before, I do have a code for 50% off your first ride. So I recommend having that ready to go on your phone before you take your Disney vacation, just in case for whatever reason it will be easier for you to take a Lyft. So when can you use Disney buses to get between parks after hours? The general rule is that the Disney buses will run until 1 hour after park closing, but in reality, they actually just keep running until every guest has left the park and it has been cleared by security. For most scenarios, the bus is going to be your best form of transportation, but later on in this post and in this video, I will go through other times where you actually don't need a bus and that there's easier ways to do it. So these are the park situations where you will need a bus. If you're going from Magic Kingdom to Hollywood Studios or Animal Kingdom, the only Disney transportation is going to be a bus or like Uber or Lyft or something. If you're going from Epcot to Animal Kingdom, and then if you're at Hollywood Studios trying to go to Magic Kingdom or Animal Kingdom, and then if you're at Animal Kingdom trying to get to any of the other parks, Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, those are all the cases where you would take a bus to get to the other park, or worst case scenario, an Uber or a Lyft. And just for reference, this is what some of the Disney buses look like. They sometimes have different wrappings on them, like characters or something for like a movie, but in general, these are what the Disney buses are. When can you use the monorail to get between parks after hours? So the general rule is that the monorail runs for 1 hour after park closing at Magic Kingdom and 2 hours after park closing for Epcot. However, the same rule applies as buses, is they will actually keep running as long as they have guests that are leaving the parks for the night and need to get to their resort or back to the parking lot. The two times where you will actually use a monorail to get between parks after closing is if you're going from Magic Kingdom to Epcot or Epcot to Magic Kingdom. So if you're leaving Magic Kingdom trying to get back over to Epcot, the best bet is to take the Express monorail, which will take you directly from the Magic Kingdom entrance to the Transportation and Ticket Center, and then you'll transfer onto the monorail next to it that says Epcot, and that one will take you directly to Epcot. You can take the resort monorail from Magic Kingdom. You're just going to stop at resorts along the way, so it will take longer, and it's supposed to be for resort guests to get back to their hotel, and people that are going to ticket and transportation center should take the express monorail. But if you can clearly see that like one line is shorter than the other, or one monorail is there and the other is not, it really doesn't make that big of a difference unless you have a group of like 50 people and you're keeping everyone else from being able to get to where they're going. So regardless, you just want to hop the monorail to Transportation Ticket Center, transfer to the Epcot monorail, and that one will drop you off at the Epcot parking lot. If you're leaving Epcot to get back to Magic Kingdom, you will just take the one monorail. It goes from the Epcot parking lot to the Transportation and Ticket Center, and that is where the parking lot is for Magic Kingdom. If for whatever reason you need to get to the actual Magic Kingdom park entrance, then again, you can take the express monorail and it will drop you off right in front. The resort monorail will eventually drop you off in front. You'll just have to stop at the resorts first. The ferry will also go straight across the water and drop you off at the front. The only other transportation there at the front is going to be the Disney buses that will go to all the other resorts that aren't connected to the monorail or the ferries. But in general, you probably only need to get to the transportation and ticket center unless you're just like meeting somebody at the front to help them get to where they're going. On a recent trip, actually, I had this exact experience. So I had parked at Epcot for the morning, stayed at Magic Kingdom till closing. And what I had actually done, I had gotten in line for Tron like 2 minutes before the park closed. So I was actually in line for, it took about an hour to get like onto the ride, off, back to the park entrance. And according to Disney's rules, the Epcot monorail should have stopped running at that point. So I went to the transportation cast member that was standing outside the buses and was like, hey, if the monorail's not running to Epcot, like, do you take a bus over there? Because they don't run buses from Magic Kingdom to Epcot because there's already a monorail. So I was asking like, okay, if the monorail's not running, did you guys like get a bus or something that can take me over? And they're like, oh no, the monorail is still running. It just runs until, everybody gets to where they need to go. So by the time we got on it was my sister and I. By the time we had gotten on the express monorail to the transportation and ticket center and then transferred over to the Epcot one, it was probably a good hour and a half after closing. But remember, the Epcot monorail does run 2 hours after Epcot closing. However, Magic Kingdom tends to just stay open later than that anyway. But there was enough people, like every monorail car had some people in it. It wasn't packed like normal leaving the park, but I would say there was probably at least 25 to 50 people getting onto this monorail with us. So we really weren't the only ones. So that's why I say, like, always ask the transportation cast member, always know kind of an understanding of what is connected to what so that you know your options if something happens like that. Because Disney does this with the buses in general. If, like, say you're staying at a resort that has a Skyliner, the Skyliner can take you directly to Epcot. But if the Skyliner is down for a refurbishment or for Lightning, they will then offer buses to take you, but they're not going to offer buses all the time. It's only when the Skyliner is not available. So the same thing applies like with the monorail. They don't offer buses because the monorail is right there, but if for whatever reason the monorail is unavailable, then they will bring in buses and it will be very clear. There's always transportation cast members directing people where to go, answering questions. Like they're very good about making sure people know how to get to where they're going and that they're accessible to people to ask questions. Here's just a photo of what the monorail looks like going through Epcot. So when can you use the Disney boats and ferries to get between parks after hours? So another option beyond the buses and the monorail is the boats and the ferries. So again, the general rule for boats and ferries is that they will stop running 1 hour after park closing. The boats at Magic Kingdom only go to the resort hotels in the Magic Kingdom Resort area. So they don't go to any other theme parks. So you can't take the boat or the ferry from there to get anywhere else. It will only take you to like Contemporary, Polynesian, Grand Floridian, Wilderness Lodge, Fort Wilderness. Like it won't take you to Epcot or Hollywood Studios or Animal Kingdom. But the friendship boats in the Epcot resort area, those run between Epcot and Hollywood Studios. So you can take those between those two parks. They don't go anywhere else. They just go to the resort hotels in that area. So like Boardwalk, Yacht Club, Beach Club, Swan and Dolphin. And then on each end of that path is Hollywood Studios and Epcot. The only issue with this though is that if you're taking the boat to Epcot, it drops off at the backside of Epcot where World Showcase is. You can't get it to the Epcot parking lot. So if you're trying to get to Epcot to get to your car, the boat will not get you there. The only way to get to the front would be by taking the monorail from the transportation and ticket center or getting like an Uber or Lyft to drop you off in the parking lot. But if you want to go from Epcot to Hollywood Studios, then that's totally fine because the bus will drop you off at the Hollywood Studios entrance where the parking lot is. So that would be the only circumstance where a boat will take you from one park to another. There are boats in the Disney Springs Resort area as well, but none of these are connected to the theme parks. These just go to Disney Springs, Saratoga Springs, the Treehouse Villas, Old Key West, and then Port Orleans, French Quarter, and Riverside. Here's what the boats look like for reference. They've been repainted since this picture, but the body of the boat is still this. So those will be running. Again, the general rule is 1 hour after park closing, but they tend to keep running as long as there are people that need to be transported from one place to another. When can you use the Skyliner to get between parks after hours? So the general rule is that the Skyliner runs for 90 minutes after the latest park closing between Epcot and Hollywood Studios, because those are the only two parks that the Skyliner is connected to. It connects those two theme parks with Caribbean Beach Resort, Riviera Resort, Pop Century, Art of Animation, and then all the Boardwalk, Yacht Club, Beach Club, Swan and Dolphin, all of those things. So the Skyliner only connects Epcot and Hollywood Studios. Those are the only two theme parks. So the Skyliner does have the same limitation that the boat does in that it drops off at the backside of Epcot. So the drop off for the Skyliner and the boat is in the exact same spot. So you can't take the Skyliner to the Epcot entrance if you're trying to get to your car. But if you're trying to go to Hollywood Studios, it again drops you off right there, right next to where the boats drop off, and it'll lead you right to the parking lot. So you could, if you're going from Epcot to Hollywood Studios, you have a ton of options actually. So you could take the boat, you could take the Skyliner, or you can even just walk. They are walking distance. Whichever route you take should get you there in about 30 minutes or less, depending on, if you're waiting for a boat, like for the next boat because the first one was full, or if there's a line at the Skyliner, or if you have like strollers or wheelchairs or anyone with mobility issues, it may take you longer to walk, but generally about 30 minutes to get from that backside of Epcot to walk all the way to the Hollywood Studios parking lot. Now for some alternative transportation options to get between the parks after hours. So if for any reason the bus, the monorail, the boat, the Skyliner, none of those are available to get you from point A to point B of whichever theme parks you're trying to go to, you can always use rideshare services. So the ones that are popular here are Uber and Lyft. Lyft does have an official partnership with Disney, so it may be better to just go with them. You can also get a taxi. The taxis are always still waiting around all the time too. Really the only downside to this is that these will all cost you money, whereas all the other ones are completely free. But in a worst case scenario type of situation, like at least you're not stranded, Again, I have a coupon code to get started with Lyft if you've never used them before. The benefit of using Lyft is with Disney's partnership, they have these things called minivans, and these are actual Disney cast members that are driving these vans, and they only take you around Disney property. So this makes it safer than using like a typical Uber, Lyft, or taxi because it is a trained and vetted Disney cast member. The minivans also get special access to the main entrance of Magic Kingdom. So if you're trying to get from Magic Kingdom to somewhere else or from somewhere else to the very front of Magic Kingdom, minivans are the only transportation other than the Disney buses that go right up front here. So here's a picture of what they look like. They have the little Minnie Mouse spots on them. Sometimes they're SUVs, sometimes they're actual minivans, but they do get that exclusive access, which can be very helpful sometimes. All the other rideshare services like a regular Lyft or an Uber, those will drop you off and pick you up at the Transportation and Ticket Center. So you'll still have to get over there from the Magic Kingdom entrance before you can take one of those. It is walkable to get from Magic Kingdom to the Transportation and Ticket Center. There is a walkway to the right. If you're leaving Magic Kingdom to your right, it connects the Grand Floridian and then the Polynesian, and then the Transportation and Ticket Center. So it is quite a bit of a walk if for whatever reason, if you're walking at like 3 a.m. for some crazy reason, like the park's been closed for hours and hours and hours. All the guests have cleared. So I don't know how you would still be there because security is there. But it is walkable if for whatever reason you can't get a boat, a ferry, or a monorail from the Magic Kingdom entrance to the Transportation and Ticket Center. It is walkable through the Grand Floridian route. It is not walkable from the Contemporary. So how to drive yourself between parks after hours. So generally the Disney theme park parking lots will close 1 hour after park closing. But again, as long as guests are leaving, they will remain open to accommodate any needs. Like there will be cast members there at like the toll booth to help you out. One thing to keep in mind is if you're trying to get over to the Magic Kingdom parking lot and like drop somebody off at their car or something like that, like say they parked at the Magic Kingdom parking lot at the beginning of the day and you guys met there, and then you guys took one car together and carpooled to another park, and say you ended at Epcot or something. When you drive your car back from Epcot to Magic Kingdom, you don't have to go through the whole toll booth. you can drive up the street where the Polynesian is and just drop them off there, because it will drop off right there in the parking lot, which will probably be significantly closer to their car than having to go through the whole Magic Kingdom toll situation, especially if this is like way, way, way after hours. It is just an easier method than having to go through the toll booth. Hollywood Studios, you can kind of do something similar. So if their parking lot entrance is closed for some reason, or the cast member won't let you in, or a cast member's not there or something like that, you can drop somebody off at Yacht Club, Beach Club, Swan, Dolphin, just like the normal drop off. And then they can walk over to the Hollywood Studios parking lot, because it is just a walking path that connects them. So that's an easy way to get to that parking lot in a roundabout kind of way. Animal Kingdom and Epcot do not have any sort of access like that. So you would have to like go to the toll booth, hope that there's a cast member there that can let you into where you need to go. They, 99% of the time, they're very, very, very accommodating. If you roll up, like Epcot closed at 10 o'clock and it's 1 a.m. and, Magic Kingdom was open till midnight. So you just got to your car and you're just driving over to Epcot and you're like, hey, I parked my car here this morning and park hopped. I'm just trying to come back in to get my car. They'll be like, okay, sure, go ahead. Because remember, even after park closing, Uber and Lyfts are still going through that toll booth the whole time too, to pick people up from the park entrance. So they know these situations happen every single day when you have thousands and thousands of people there. So they're very accommodating and very helpful with that. What else? So I also have a little chart here that if you want to screenshot it, I'll even move this out of the way too. If you want to screenshot this, or if you go to the blog post itself to screenshot it, this is the best way to get to each theme park after hours if you are relying on like Disney transportation. So the times where you would use the monorail is Magic Kingdom to Epcot, Epcot to Magic Kingdom. If you're going Epcot to Hollywood Studios, you can walk, take a boat, or take the Skyliner. For Hollywood Studios to Epcot, the only Disney transportation that exists that can get you there would be a minivan, because remember, the boats and the Skyliner drop you off on the backside of Epcot, and then the monorail is not connected to Hollywood Studios. All the other instances, the bus will take you. And if for whatever reason, because the way the buses work is, they're clearing out the parks when everyone's leaving, but then as people come up and they're like, oh, I'm trying to get to this place, they will pull a bus and pull a bus driver to take people specifically to where they need to go at the end of the night. So they will help you and they will accommodate you. You just have to find a cast member and talk to them if it's not super obvious to you how to get to where you're going. And then the last couple things I have, just getting around Disney World without a car in general. I do have a post here, so this would be assuming normal operating hours that you're trying to get from places. It covers a lot of these same things just during normal operation hours. And then I do have this free PDF download, same thing, where it tells you how to get from point A to point B for every resort, theme park, water park, Disney Springs, all of that kind of stuff. What Disney transportation is available to you, what will be the most efficient, what things aren't available at all. Some of them are a lot more intuitive than others. Some things are a little convoluted. Like you got to do like planes, trains, and automobiles kind of thing. So this is a really easy PDF download that you can keep with you on your trip to help plan out where you need to go, time to get to places, and things like that. And again, if you've never used Lyft before, I do have a code for 50% off your first ride. And that is it for how to get between parks after hours.